For a primary night, the polls are still open in Maryland. Voters are still making big decisions about who they want to run this November. On the ballot for today's primary are races for governor, Senate, House of Representatives, and the state legislature, and more. Polls close at 8 o'clock, and if you're in line at that time, you can still cast your ballot. Now, this is a big one, so our team is going to be here all night as the results come in. Live at the polls tonight, we've got Adam Longo in Montgomery County, Larry Miller in Prince George's County, and ads will get to you in just a moment. But first, Larry, what are you hearing from voters there?
You know, Leslie, really kind of the same things that we've been hearing from voters leading up to Election Day, which is inflation for many is key. Rising gas prices, another important issue, as well as climate change. Want to give you a look at how things are shaping up here at Duval High School here in Prince George's County. Certainly so far, so good. A seamless process for voters that have been checking in here at Station 1, making their way down to get their ballot, and then filling out their ballot and then getting it scanned. I talked with one voter and I asked her, quite frankly, you know, what is the issue that's bringing her out to the polls today? She said for her, it was all about inflation. She said food's too high, gas is too high, just about everything is too high. And for her, she was choosing the candidate that she says is going to do the right job in trying to bring the cost of just daily goods down and make living just a little bit easier for families. When we think about those major issues, it's certainly consistent with what we've seen from other polling, outside polling that's been looking at this issue as well. The inflation, gas prices, crime, and the environment are some of the leading issues among both Republicans and Democrats this election cycle. Leslie?
Yeah, and Larry, the big seat, of course, up for grabs is governor. So let's get a snapshot of the Democratic race for governor, because it's a big old field.
Yeah, just everybody's running this year, right? 9 candidates that are vying for the Democratic nomination for governor. The 3 leading candidates, Peter Franchot, Wes Moore, and Tom Perez. What's interesting is that Rushern Baker, the former county executive here in Prince George's County, suspended his campaign several months ago, but he's still on the ballot. That voter that I spoke with earlier, she actually voted for Rushern Baker, saying that for her, she still supports the candidate even though he suspended his campaign. And that's going to be an issue for both Tom Perez and Wes Moore that are trailing behind Peter Franchot. They need to capture as many votes as they possibly can from Prince George's County if they have any hopes of taking over Peter Franchot and getting that Democratic nomination, Leslie.
It should be a wild night. All right, Larry, thanks so much. And our Adam Longo is live at the polls at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Middle School in Germantown tonight. Adam, you've been following the gubernatorial race on the Republican side. What's happening there?
Sure, certainly there is a lot unfolding. There are 4 candidates in that race, but there are really 2 that have risen to the top. And Republican primary voters in Maryland, Leslie, are basically being asked the same question as Republican primary voters all across the country. Who do you prefer? Do you prefer a Trump-style and Trump-back candidate? Or do you prefer a, why don't we call them a pre-Trump, a more traditional-style Republican? So in this Republican race, we have Kelly Schulz, who is a former state delegate, a former Secretary of Commerce and Labor under Governor Larry Hogan. We also have Dan Cox, who is the Trump-back candidate in this race, and he is a delegate from Frederick County. Now, the recent polling in this race has revealed that both candidates were neck and neck. This polling was done actually at the end of June. It showed both candidates within the margin of error, basically tied, but it also said about half of the people polled were undecided, whereas the other half said that they could very well change their mind. So this will be a big night for both of these candidates. Now, I want you to keep this in mind because this holds true for this race and every other race in Maryland. Because mail-in ballots will not be counted by law, they can't be counted until this Thursday. It is highly unlikely that in many of these contested cases, we will have a clear-cut winner by the time you go to bed tonight. Let me take you through the polling location where I am here tonight in Germantown. We're at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Middle School. They've had, as of 4 o'clock, about 222 people come in here so far. So, hey, it's been a pretty light day. So voters are basically walking through the front door here. They're checking in with the voter folks at the front, giving their name, and then having to verify their date of birth and their address. At that point, they are given their ballot, Democrat, Republican, or perhaps they're unaffiliated. 10% of voters are unaffiliated, and it's a pretty sad ballot, to tell you the truth. That's where I fall, and you don't have a lot of the partisan folks on the ballot. There are only 4 people on the ballot that I went into. So then the folks will come over here. They will cast their ballots, and then they will be on their way. So About 3 to 1 as about 4 o'clock, folks requesting the Democratic ballots versus the Republican ballot. So it's been a pretty long day here for some of the election workers, not seeing that many people, about 220, 250 people so far. But it has been busier than it was on early voting. The precinct captain here said she was working at a polling location where only 50 people showed up in a given day during early voting. Polls are open until 8 o'clock tonight, so there is a possibility they could get a post-work rush coming in here. Also, one thing you should be aware of, if you live in Montgomery County, you're not sure where your precinct is, easy. Just text the word check to 77788. That is through Montgomery County Elections, and that will send you the link, assuming you're registered to vote, to the polling location that you can go and cast your ballot. Leslie?
Yeah, it's really important information because of redistricting and the maps were redrawn. Some people are going to different voting locations, so it's really great to get that information out. We'll talk a bit more, Adam. I'm curious to pick your mind a little bit later because I know you've been a poll worker at times, and I know the county is down about 650 poll workers. I'm curious to know what the impact is going to be on today, on tonight, or if you've seen any of that, and we can talk a little bit about that more.
I'll give you a little teaser. Just fortunately, because voter turnout is so low, they certainly haven't needed as many people as they have in the past. Voter turnout in the 2020 election was about 74% in Maryland. During the 2014 primary election in Maryland, so when Larry Hogan ultimately was elected, his voter turnout was 20%, so considerably fewer people.
Got it. All right. Well, you set the stage and you let everybody know, and this is really important that you share this, that all of us share this with voters, because it is going to be a long night and we may not see the results of it, especially if the races are close tonight. And that, again, is because those mail-in ballots can't be counted until Thursday. And a lot of people are using them.